So how did I get started investigating all of the above? Well, welcome back to Grave Confessions, everybody. My name is Dave. A few people have already asked, who are you guys? Who is Grave Confessions? Um, in short, we are a paranormal investigation group. We started back in 2003, 2004. It was 2004. A group of friends of mine got together, and we always had a fascination with the paranormal from high school. And you always saw the Halloween specials when they came on during Halloween, and we wanted to try it. In high school, it was kind of it was a rush to find haunted places. Where I live in Northwest Ohio, it is dotted with all kinds of urban legends. Like there's an urban legend under every rock, and I'm sure that's the same everywhere you go. There's a crybaby bridge. There's a howling dog out of the woods. You name it. Strange lights in the sky. Some of it, yeah, some of it is a legitimate claim. Most of it is not. So if you have never investigated anything paranormal, do not be surprised if you compile hours, days, if not months of footage, B-roll footage you will never use for anything other than saying, I did that. Waiting around oh gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this at 2 o'clock a.m. I could be doing other things. And I'm here trying to get one whisper, one flash of light, one communication, one anything. And if you think you're only going to catch ghosts while you are paranormal investigating, you have another thing coming. A lot of things, a lot of places we went to, we started looking through the Haunted Ohio books. If you've never read them, I'm sure every other state has their version of what that is. If you don't know what it is, they're volumes of books that have scary stories and legends in them from people who have experienced strange things all over Ohio. Some of it is far fetched. You know what? All of it's far fetched. Some of it has a legitimate claim, and some of it don't. So a lot of the stories are you're only going to catch this once in a lifetime. You had to have been there to see it, and other stories are reoccurring, right? So when you investigate all these places, you start going to it. You're like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, I've been there. And you didn't catch anything, right? Unlike, oh gosh, the Mansfield, Ohio Penitentiary. Ghost Adventures have been there. Every ghost group has been there. We've been there. If that's in one of the books. And yeah, that's a legitimate claim. So after a while of going through all the stories and going to a lot of the places, you're like, okay, well, we've been to a lot of things in this book or books, and most of it is kind of, well, far-fetched. So we decided to do something different as a group. We looked into public police logs, right? You look into things that people report. This is on the docket this week. You get in the newspaper, and you once in a while you'll see a story and you're like, what is that? Why was the police called out to location, and you look at the location and it's a cemetery, a disturbance, and then people say, well, the police were chased out by black dogs. Wait a minute. The police were chased out by black dogs. What? Okay, that's odd. You don't see anything more about it, and you ask around. You're like, okay, the police were chased out of a cemetery by howling dogs. It could have been anything. And then, the police don't want to talk about it. It's not a big deal. But it's interesting to hear things like that. Those are the kinds of things that our group wants to investigate. We don't want to go into the Haunted Ohio books. We don't want to watch, an awesome episode of Ghost Adventures and go, I want to go there. Well, they already did it. We want to hear something legit or supposedly legit from somebody that, it isn't, it hasn't been investigated, and go do it. So we went to said location, and I wish I could names and locations, because I'm telling you that this is a crazy, crazy place. We did get permission to stay there and work into the late evening and into the night. We couldn't stay overnight, but we worked late into the evening, and it was pretty dark by the time we left. But um, in short, this is what started the group. This was the first investigation we did as a group, and it is not for the faint of heart. This we jumped in both feet forward. All right, let's get into it. We got the location from public reports of this area in Northwest Ohio that used to be a town. The town is no longer there, and for disclaimer reasons and whatnot, we're going to leave names and exact locations out. But I remember going, and we have talked to enough people that said you hear children playing out there in the middle of the night, you hear Native Americans singing, you hear dogs howling, strange lights, the whole gambit, right? Everything an investigator wants to hear and wants to see. We're like, okay, let's go. And I remember going, and it was the middle of summer. No, this one was in the middle of fall. Yeah, this was like at the beginning of fall, and around here it gets really cold. This is the beginning of fall, and I remember going, and we're right at the rip. Our video equipment died. Boom. I'm like, oh gosh. First thing, video equipment dies. At that time, we weren't 100% sure that the spirits or whatnot could do that. And then our cameras started acting up. So we were taking pictures, and our digital recorders and our DVRs and whatnot, they were not working. So we were taking pictures with standard 35mm cameras, and they were turning out fuzzy. They weren't clear. We weren't sure what was going on. And then we went ahead and did question and answer sessions with EVPs, right? Trying to get someone to talk, and there was nothing for hours and hours. So early evening, we were taking pictures, and we caught something very interesting. We didn't know at the time that we caught it, but when we did, that was about the time things actually started happening. So we caught this picture, and we have a member who was doing an EVP session, and she was really tired of being out. We've already been out there for almost 8 hours, and she was really tired of being out there. So she was getting frustrated, and in the middle of her session, a face pops out of the back of a headstone. We didn't even see it. We didn't even know it was there. We're taking pictures, and we went back and looked, and there was no other. We tried to find a reference photo of a before and after or whatnot, and it was hard to find one. So we have this picture of what looks like a face coming out of the back of a headstone, and then I remember from that point forward, it got really dark really fast. It was in the evening. It went from late afternoon to evening, and then noises everywhere. It just sounded like the wind was picking up, but there was no wind. And we were catching orbs just left and right, and we caught a really, really creepy EVP. Let me play that for you real quick. You guys are gonna like this. It just sounds so forceful, when you hear that voice, the no, and we got another one like. Yeah, we were asking, and I can't remember what we were asking. And we ended up getting this EVP like later. It was just out of the blue where it said like yes, let's roll that one really quick. Oh. Oh yeah, so that's a bit of the thrill and a bit of the discovery there is of being a paranormal investigator, and that being our very first investigation as a group. That really set the tone for what was to follow, right? Because more than just paranormal happens. Cryptozoology creeps into your investigations because noises are not always groans in the middle of the night from a spirit. The lights aren't always a will-o-wisp or a demon in the mist. A UFO, right? or something else. It could be a magnetic disturbance or an electronic power box or transformer blowing on a power line. You don't know. There's so many different things that things could be. You just got to investigate it. And then there are areas that are prone to more activity than others. Burial grounds, active cemeteries are still being used. Abandoned buildings that had things happen. You know, we were strong believers in the stone tape theory. Um, Things that have happened over time, or really traumatic things that have happened in a period of time that kind of sink in, seep in like a blood stain in the area that you were in. But getting back to our first investigation, I remember coming home. It was about 1:30 in the morning. We were sitting around and we were having a few adult beverages, discussing the night. And the very next day, I was going through footage and the EVPs and the pictures, uh, putting it all together. All that time, I mean, that was over 12 hours of just in one night, just hanging out. Very first time we've ever done it, and caught a bunch of stuff for our first investigation. Now, it was a successful night. Yes, you sit through, bring lots of food. Um, yeah, you sit through hours and hours and hours of nothing, and when you finally get something, it's worth it because you can't believe it. People are like, "That's so fake." I'm like, it isn't fake. It's on video. It's on film. This was recorded live. There's no making that up. So yeah, you know what? The thrill is worth it, and it's been a while since our group has gotten together to investigate. Um, just like recently had an event happen where I had caught an unidentified flying object in the sky, and I started this channel, and I was like, you know what? Let's break out all the old footage. Let's get people talking again. Let's talk about all the strange things that are happening in the world, and local, right? Because if it hits you where you live and you wake up. All right, folks. So that is the first investigation for Grave Confessions. If you'd like to see more content, hit a like and subscribe button. If you'd like to support our channel, hit that notification icon. That way you are notified when more content drops, just like what you just saw. And then you can see it right away. Tell your friends, tell your family. If you're interested in the paranormal, hit us in the comments below. Tell us what your first experience in the paranormal was. I love hearing other people's stories. We don't have a merch shop set up or anything like that, but if anybody would like merch from Grave Confessions, let me know in the comments. Shoot me a message, and I'll set up a shop, and we'll get that rolling because I wouldn't mind having some of our own merch too. So, all right, well, that's it. And remember, folks, truth is out there, or up there.